My name is Jim Scully, and I've been teaching the music department at CSUB for 10 years. I'm a guitarist and a composer, and I'm very lucky to be able to teach music every day. It is exactly the career I hoped for when I started college 20 years ago. One of the things I enjoy most about teaching music is that every student I teach, from my general education courses to my music major courses, every student I teach has a personal relationship with music. We all listen to music. We all have favorite bands, favorite songs, favorite singers or guitarists. We have all filtered our best and worst memories through music. Music is an important part of our lives. My point is that of all the arts, music is the art that is the most entrenched in our daily lives. I began teaching CSUB 101 last year, in the fall of 2011, and one of the things I find most appealing about the first year experience program is the shared experience that all CSUB freshmen have during the fall quarter of that first year. The act of 1,300 or more students reading the same book at the same time is wondrous. Then to be able to discuss that book with your peers in classrooms around campus in preparation for a talk by the author just heightens that shared experience. The Runner-Reader event helps to show each of you that you are not alone in college, that you are surrounded by peers that have similar questions, similar fears, and similar interests. So, like the Runner-Reader connects the freshman class at CSUB, music has the power to do the same thing across majors and across mindsets, across races and across religions. This is why I love music and why I love teaching music. It is truly universal. In the general education course I teach most frequently, Music 105, The Appreciation of Jazz, I use jazz to teach students about music. Jazz is an American creation, but is an amalgam of African polyrhythm, African and African American melodic content, and a traditional European harmonic language. So you see, even the music I'm most interested in studying and discussing is derived from many different places. So, to celebrate that musical diversity, which in some ways mirrors the diversity we find on our own campus, and to give the students of the FYE program and CSUB a fun educational activity, we are bringing in a great band named Snarky Puppy to perform on September 29th. I'm hoping to give you, the listener and CSUB 101 student, a little knowledge about the basic elements of music before you see the Snarky Puppy concert, or any of the music department events. Like anything, a little understanding about what you are seeing or hearing makes the experience that much more enjoyable. But before that, let's try to define music itself. Any ideas? Well, this is a terribly hard question to answer, especially if you haven't spent significant time thinking about it. The best definition for music I have come up with in 12 years of teaching in higher education, as well as 6 years studying as a student, is this: sound organized through time. Pretty vague, isn't it? But if you think about it, the sound part makes sense. We're hearing sounds. That's a given for most all of us. But the organized through time part is more esoteric. Does music usually make you want to move in some way? Tap your foot? Bob your head? Of course it does. Do you do that tapping, bobbing, or shaking in some sort of rhythm? Is there a pulse or beat that dictates the timing of that action? Of course there is. That is the organized time. That is the beat. Music, no matter the genre, has commonalities. These basic elements of music are present in hip-hop, classical, jazz, pop, rock, rhythm and blues, and so forth. The parameters of sound and time that composers and performers manipulate do not change in any of those styles of music. What does change? the instruments change, right? Classical music means, to a great deal of you, violins, cellos, clarinets, and the like. Rock music means guitars, drums, and a screaming vocalist. Pop music means keyboards, synthesizers, and electronic drum beats. Jazz music means trumpets, saxophones, trombones, drums. Those instrumentations are different. They are all playing the same notes or pitches to create a melody. That melody and how it exists in time is rhythm. Combining many notes together creates harmony. Melody, rhythm, harmony. Let's start with those three basic elements of music. What is a melody? Can you describe it? Melody is the succession of pitches, one after another. Typically, it is the part of the song that you remember, or even can sing when the song is over. It is typically in the foreground. You don't usually have to listen too hard to decipher the melody in a selection of music. Melody can be defined by its shape, motion, range, how high or low the pitches go, among other things. Which instruments can play melodies? That's an interesting question, because any instrument that can play notes can play a melody. While melodies are best described as a horizontal succession of pitches, harmony is best described as a vertical group of pitches, sounding simultaneously, as opposed to one after another. These verticalities create what we call chords, or groups of 3 or more pitches sounding simultaneously. Which instruments can create harmonic sonorities or harmonies? Can all instruments do that? That's an interesting question too, because instruments like flute or clarinet can typically only play one note at a time. To be able to play chords or harmonies, you need to have an instrument that can play more than one note at a time. Guitar, piano are the two primary examples of instruments that play harmonies. Music moves through time, as we already discussed. The pulse or beat is the place where the listener wants to tap their foot or bob their head. That is your beat. That pulse or beat can be divided into smaller groupings. These smaller groupings can both reinforce the basic pulse or in some cases contradict the basic pulse. The beats are grouped into fours in most music we hear on the radio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. That recurring grouping of 4 sets the meter of the piece. We can also have groupings of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is typically called a waltz, and that also is a pretty common meter in music.